And I think that's a quote that I've been pondering lately is, you can have anything you want, or anything, but you can't have everything.
Okay. I need to process that one.
Yeah.
You can have anything you want, except everything.
No. You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. So
you can have everything what you want, but everything.
So what effectively, like, this is where I'm kind of coming at from. So as I'm unpacking it, I'm thinking, okay, so basically it's saying, like, literally, you can have anything you want in life, anything, but you can't have everything. So you've got to focus. Pick one thing or three.
True.
And then go for that. But don't go, oh, this week I want that, this week I want this, because then you won't have anything.
Yeah, you're constantly chasing your tail.
Yeah.
Have you got that focus yet? It seems to me you have, in a way, or no?
A little bit. Look, I think we all go through stages in life, and
we all do. We're only human, right?
And we're thinking machines, right? And so you start thinking about
that's our problem. That's our problem.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm there yet, Jeff, but I feel like I'm getting better at it, right?
You're getting better at focusing on what you want. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because life is transient. What you want one day could easily flip around another day, eh?
Yeah. And it's so true, like, I don't know who said this, but it's like, not everybody wants a Ferrari. Like, you take 1,000 people. I mean, maybe 500 of them will say, yeah, I'd love that. But the other 500 will surprise you, and they'll be like, no, I'm not interested in that. I'd rather have this or that. So, and I think that comes back to the fact that quite often we think, I feel there's a tendency for people to think of limitations and there's not enough, scarcity. But the reality is there's more than enough, and there's probably too much. And that's another thing that makes it easy for you to go get what you want when you really focus. But the key is focusing. And I think that's the hard part, right?
Because there's too much out there. We're thinking machines, a lot of distractions.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I don't know about you, but if you look at my parents, and my dad's dream was to come to Australia from Denmark. Like, he sort of, I think he said he was 16 or 17 or something like that, and he saw a map of Australia and kangaroos and stuff, and he thought, wow, that's where I want to be. And then eventually he got there because of his IT experience, and he got to get to the head of the queue because he was educated in the area that Australia needed and wanted back in the 80s. So he was very focused on that, and he wasn't really focused on anything else, right? Like he loved his role. But I think once he came here, it was interesting to see that he just continued doing what he loved. Like, he loves IT, and I think if he could, he'd still work in that industry now. Given the low unemployment figures, he probably still can.
He can probably get 10x his salary.
True. But for me, I kind of look at that and go, okay, well, they had a focus. But if they'd been all over the place saying, oh no, we want to do this, we want to go to Spain, we want to go to Canada, we want to go to US, they may never have gone anywhere, right? But Dad was so focused on Australia that he said, hey, that's where I want to go.
And even when you guys got here, he then focused on his role in IT, but obviously in Australia.
Yeah.
I like that quote.
So
you can have anything, but not everything.
Yeah.
Well said.
I don't know who said it, but it's something, sometimes you have things that just ruminate in your head, and I think that's another thing. You as human beings, we don't pay enough attention to the rumination. I feel sometimes, men, women, we all have this tendency where we probably endure things, and when you don't listen to the rumination, I think that's when things can feel like they're going wrong, because you don't really, your body know. I feel that your body knows, and the thoughts that you're having is a result of those vibrations kind of coming up and saying, hey, you need to pay attention to this, or you need to think about this.
Is that sort of instinct, intuition?
Intuition, instinct, yeah, absolutely. You know, it might be something saying that, hey, you know, don't walk down that alleyway. That could be one thing. That's on one level. It could be, you know, you should explore that opportunity. Don't just shut it down. I think that's definitely something that everybody.
So you're sort of telling me the subconscious mind already knows what you want, and it's essentially giving you signals to take on.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we have the, what is it? The reticulating RAS, I think it is.
RAS. Okay, I've never heard of that term before.
It's something like the reticulating activation system. It's something in your brain. So if you think about what kind of car do you drive, Jeff?
A Skoda, Octavia. It's like a backpack on wheels.
I love it.
Love it. It's like a backpack.
Mate, I'll tell you a story about Skoda in a second.
Okay.
I bet you when you started looking for that car, you started, all of a sudden you saw it everywhere.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
That is your RAS. I need to fact check that. I'm not 100% sure. I think
because your mind is focused on it, hence you pay a bit more attention to it.
Yeah.
Agree.
So that's, you know, that's one of our evolutionary traits, that it picks out patterns or things that you're focused on, which helps you survive, right? But we use it in the modern sense that it picks out things that we're interested in.
Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So I think that when you then have these ruminating thoughts, sometimes they're negative. If they're negative, I think it's not so much about the bad things that could be, or as a result of it. It's like that's telling you that there's something that you need to deal with or act on or get away from, right? So maybe like if you go to work every day and you just have these things about, oh man, I just dread going to work. Maybe you need to be looking for a different role. Maybe you need to be looking for a different industry. Maybe you need to not that you necessarily can afford it, but maybe you need to take the time out and just give yourself some space and time to reflect.
Have you read the book The Alchemist before, Ronnie?
Yeah. What's his name? Paul
Coelho or something like
that. Yeah.
What you're saying to me reminds me of a quote. I'm not too sure if it came from The Alchemist, but essentially goes, your mind already knows what it wants. And every day it just gives you reminders to just pick up on it and go with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very cool.
And the term was RAS again, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. If you don't mind me, I'll just
have a quick look. So you're telling me RAS is essentially these little cues that your body gives you, is that correct?
Well, it's a system that helps you
be alert or something like that, or
or focus in on yes, it's the reticular activating system, and it's a complex bundle of nerves in the brain that's responsible for regulating wakefulness and sleep-wake transitions, and it also functions as a filter by taking out unnecessary noise that can interfere with the process of messages or slow the processing of messages during sleep. That's the kind of scientific definition, but I think it's Alan Pease, the guy who wrote Body Language. He's got a book, and in that book he talks about the RAS and how that's exactly what it does. As soon as you start having thoughts about buying a Skoda, you'll see the Skoda everywhere, and that helps reconfirm for you that A, it's a popular choice. B, it's a good choice because there are many of them out there, and there wouldn't be many of them out there if it wasn't a good choice. and it just reinforces things that you want to do or looking to do.
I suppose in a negative way, it's like you going, you know what, I'm going to buy company X on the share market. I want it so badly that I sometimes might forget the objective side of things. Would that be the negative way of that in a way? Or
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it could be negative in that sense, and that's why I think that the flip side is you can't just focus on the rumination. You got to also listen to how the body is with it, right? Like, how does that sit with you? How does it feel? Is it a gut instinct, or is it more like sort of a heart instinct, or like throat anxiety instinct? I think that there's lots of little things that you combine in to get that holistic view on it.
wow, that's a very fascinating. So with yourself, Ronnie, are you listening to your ruminations?
I try to, Jeff.
What's stopping you?
Well, look, sometimes you get preoccupied, or technology is very good at grabbing your attention as well. And once your attention's grabbed, it's you don't always focus on the things that you should be.
Are you looking to maybe control yourself when it comes to this technology thing?
Oh, look, it's not a problem for me, but it's I think it's just part of the culture. Like, you look like, I mean, how many times you go out and you see people having coffee, but they're looking at their phones rather than the person across from them?
So when we do have that lunch and coffee, our phones are right in our back pockets, Ronnie.
That's right.
Interesting.
No, but it's true, right? Like, I mean, how many
You're right.
times?
It is. It's crazy.
I saw there's a photographer. I can't remember who it was, but you can Google it later. But he took these photos, and he just took normal everyday photos of people sitting. Yeah, but then what he did was he removed the phone or the screen from their hand, and all you're seeing are these people just looking at their hand, and they're really amazing photos, because you go like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, people just not paying attention to what's going on around them.
Interesting. And you're right. So how can one be closer to their ruminations? Because I've heard of this topic before. Like what I said, the alchemist, your body already knows what you want. It's just basically giving you clues every single day to go for it.
I think so two things. I think to firstly take a step back. I think ruminations for me, like, if you think about, what's a thought that appears to you again and again, Jeff? Like, do you have a thought that comes back to you? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, for me, my entire life, I always thought about martial arts and enjoying doing that sport, and I love it. Like, I think it's an amazing thing to be able to do. And I keep thinking, I should go back to it. Right? To me, that's actually my body saying, hey, you should be involved in this. You should be doing this because it's healthy for you, and it's giving you something that is rewarding to you inside and mentally. And when I do practice, so I've done it on and off for over probably, I'd say, 30 years.
So note to self, don't mess with you.
No, I'm not saying that I'm amazing at it or anything, Jeff, but like, just in a 30-year period, I've done it on and off. Yeah, there'll be years where I don't do it, and then I'll do it for a couple of years, and then I won't do it again for years. But I really do enjoy it. It's something I get a lot out of. And I know that when I'm doing it, I just feel so much more focused, so much more relaxed, and just better about myself.
In the zone.
Yeah. I'm sure you have thoughts like that. Like, do you have like an example of something that just constantly recurs to you or occurs to you?
No.
Okay. Oh.
Because I'm at a state now where I feel amazing. And the reason why is that, how people talk to you about, you got to live each day, you got to take it day by day. And when I was younger, or maybe a few years ago, I was always looking forward. What am I going to do next? What's going to happen then? How do I make that money? How do I free X that? How do I get property number X? Where I'm going to buy that. So I'm thankful now I answer your question in a way, and I'll tell you why. I'm thankful in a way now that now I only think about what's in front of me, if that makes sense. And
Sure.
that's the thought that comes to me. So when
So
you ask,
that's your rumination, right?
yeah, like I'm talking to you, you're my priority, I'm looking at you. That's the thought.
Mm.
And I feel very calm now. Even if there's a big problem, I know it's tomorrow's problem in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the rumination doesn't necessarily mean anxiety either, right? Like some people think, oh, it's what I'm anxious about. Well, no, not necessarily. And I think Mel Robbins talks to this point very, very beautifully. She goes, anxiety is, you need to flip that and say, it's something I'm excited about. Right now, I'm excited. Because anxiety and excitement is the same feeling, same body chemistry, same reactions within your body. I didn't know
Wow.
that.
I
It's
didn't know
kind
that
of,
too. There you go. I'm learning.
so that kind of flips it. So when people feel anxiety, they if they can have the foresight or the insight to say, hey, I'm actually excited about this, that can change your perception. Because once you start telling yourself that you're excited versus anxious, it's a different mindset, it's a different thought process, and it's liberating.
You're
And that,
not fighting it. You're accepting it.
yeah, you're
You-
embracing it, right? So rumination for me is one way to say, okay, well, why am I thinking about this? This is something I'm thinking about often. Why am I thinking about it often? What is it that's attracting me to think about it? So for you, it's obviously being in the present. And so, but then you can kind of go deeper and start to think about, well, why am I thinking about it like that? What is it that's driving me to want to be in the present? Have you spent a lot of time in the future, or have you spent a lot of time in the past?
I wow, you really got me thinking again. I think about the present constantly because peace of mind is so important to me.
Mm, yeah, and that's a good point, right? Like I think anytime we look forward or we look backward, that creates either, I think, anxiety or depression.
Discomfort. It
Yeah.
does.
Now I'm a big believer in being comfortable, like being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that's really important. I
I think
think
we all
it's
need to.
yeah. You can't get through life without being uncomfortable. It's just and the minute you think you can, that's when you're going to get hit, right? Like you're going to get a surprise.
Regardless if it's raining, hailing, sunshine, cold, wet, it is what it is.
Yeah, like um, influence the things you can, and don't worry about the things that you can't.
Wow, this
That
conversation has taken on a whole new different base. I knew this was in you, Ronnie. You scare me sometimes in terms of its depth. Did you know we've been speaking for over an hour now? By the way,
no, it doesn't feel like it, does it?
it's
I mean, it
beautiful.
may, I'm sure the people listening, they may be going, "Wow, this is how long has this been running? A couple of hours now."
Yeah, that's essentially what I want, right?
Yeah,
I could, like, this is amazing. Just getting back to the rumination thing about there's a lot of distraction. It's sort of maybe dragging you away from listening. Actually, here's an example. Last year, my rumination was that I was very unhappy.
mm-hmm.
I felt that I shared this to you before. I was turning into someone that I wasn't. And that was always gnawing on the back of my head. Then one day, obviously sounds simple, right? One day I had enough. I said, you know what? Shut up. I'm going to listen to you now. I'm going to do something about it. And I did.
Yeah, and I think that's when you kind of, sometimes it takes time, Jeff. Like it takes time to deal with that beast, right? A lot of times people don't realize they're ruminating stuff. Like it may be easy as an external party to see, hey, Jeff, we're having this conversation again. Like we've talked about this now 3 or 4 times. What's actually happening in this situation for you? And I think that's another way that you can see rumination, right? Repetitive patterns of communication or conversations that people have. It's like they talk about the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm not talking about.
You need a good friend for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. But you even with people you only talk to a little bit, Jeff. You watch like, if there's people like even workmates, right? Like workmates, you'll have conversations, and I'm just talking about, oh, it's great weather, shame about the weather, or it's raining, whatever. Like not that. People have a tendency to repeat themselves, right, because of what's going on, and
that's the rumination.
Yeah, that's my belief, anyway.
Fascinating. I think we're to come back for podcast 2 because I've got a ton of other questions I'm going to ask you because you've opened up this whole different portal here. I'm conscious of your time, Ronnie. Let's park everything, right? Let's park rumination. Let's park PEXA. Let's park your 20 years in financial markets, foreign exchange. I know very much now of what motivates you, why you want to be where you want to be. Can you paint me a picture, Ronnie, in 30 years' time? Paint me a picture. Where are you? Is it a feeling? If it's a feeling, paint me a feeling. Is it somewhere tangible? Tell me exactly where you are.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. I like that. So for me, it's a feeling of it's both, right? Like it's a feeling of contentment, being content.
What color is that? What color is it?
For me, it's probably like a bright orange or bright yellow.
I like it. I like it.
Maybe a little bit of green around the edges there.
I can see it.
And it's just kind of getting up, living every day I can, spending time with family. I haven't been lucky enough to have any children yet, but I do hope to have children. I think that'd be amazing. And yeah, so just being in the moment with my partner, which I do try to be, but again, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, there's much growth to be had on that journey between now and the 30 years.
You're with your partner, right? But are you somewhere?
Yeah.
Where are you?
So I'd still be in Australia, but the way I kind of look at it, we'd be between countries. So we'd be, a little bit of time here, a little bit of time overseas, in Denmark maybe.
Is it sunny?
Maybe, yes, sunny, and then we don't mind having the seasons, all 4 seasons, experiencing the seasons. Snow, cold, hot, wet, dry.
So that picture of contentment, orange, yellow, bit of green around it. It seems to me that's a painting hanged up somewhere.
Yeah, it could be.
You're with your wife.
Yeah.
You're enjoying the 4 seasons. You split between Australia and Denmark. Thankfully, you said there's kids maybe potentially running around you. It's a sunny day, but it could be snowy. But to me, what's more important? But the picture of is it contentment, or is it the tangible of being with your family and friends?
Yeah, I think that's a tough question, Jeff, because
I ask myself sometimes that too.
Yeah, because I feel like I feel family brings contentment, but contentment is also good for family, right? So I think it's a balance between the two. I don't think you can pick, and I don't think you will have to either. I think you can have both.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a big believer in having both. Now, but it comes back to saying, again, it's the saying I was saying. It's you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything.
Focus.
Right? Yeah.
Ronnie, thank you very much for your time. I was going to ask you one more question about any final thoughts, but I think that quote summarizes it perfectly.
Thanks, Jeff. It's been a pleasure.